so much for tuning in today. I am so excited to do this video for you. Macaroni and cheese is one of my favorite comfort foods, and I am so excited to teach you this recipe. This recipe is very special to me and my favorite because it's been passed down to me from my great-grandmother, and it also has a very distinctive aftertaste. I have tweaked it just a little bit, but I think that you guys really are gonna like it. Everyone that I've made it for absolutely loves it. And guys, if you like this recipe or this video, please give it a big thumbs up on my YouTube channel or subscribe to my YouTube channel, Home with Hannah. You may also leave me a comment or a question on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, and I will certainly respond to you. All right, if you guys wanna learn how to make this amazing recipe, just keep on watching.
Alright, let's start off by talking about the ingredients. First, we're going to need pasta. In this video, I am using medium shells, but you can use any pasta you prefer, such as bow tie or penne. We also need 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 small onion, which is going to give this recipe its distinctive flavor, 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of flour, 3/4 to 1 cup of milk, and of course 2 bars of 8-ounce sharp cheddar cheese. I prefer Cabot if you're going to do store-bought. Let's talk about the tools we'll be using for this recipe. Very simple and basic. We're going to need a knife, big spoon, spatula, and cutting board, in addition to a pot, strainer, and mixing bowl. We're going to begin by boiling our water for the pasta. Do not put it on high, even though you may want to expedite this process. You want to put this on medium heat because you don't want to ruin your cookware. You're going to add the pasta to the boiling water. You're going to mix it around and add any oil or salt if you prefer. I usually just do salt. Now let's begin prepping the best part, the cheese sauce. I'm going to cut this bar in half like so, and then of course just continue cutting it into smaller pieces. What you want to do is cut it into little cubes, but if you want to expedite the melting process, you can cut it even smaller, or you can even use a shredder to cut the cheese. As you can see here, I am using 2 different colored cheeses. They're both sharp cheddar, but I do like the texture and the taste of having the white and the orange together. Like I mentioned before, I am using Cabot cheese. I really do like the quality, and I do like the price, and I love the taste. So if you're going to buy it from a supermarket, I would go with Cabot. So my favorite part of the recipe, the onion. To me, this is like the secret ingredient. It's going to give this recipe a very subtle aftertaste. It's not going to be overpowering. It's not going to be pungent. It's going to be just right, and I know you guys are going to enjoy it. Now that all the skin has been removed from the onion, we're going to cut it in half, and basically what we want to do is chop this onion. Please excuse my technique. I do know I need to learn the proper way to cut an onion. But as long as I have the end result, that's all that matters, and that is a chopped onion. What you do not want to do with this onion is mince it or put it in a food processor. This will ruin the cheese sauce. It'll make it very gooey and very sticky, and that is not what you want. You want a very delicious, soft, and creamy cheese sauce. So by now your pasta should be done. I prefer it to be al dente. Of course you can do it the way you like, but I just think al dente is perfect for this recipe. Now we can remove the water with a strainer, like so. Then we're going to place the strainer on a mixing bowl like so. Here's the fun part, making the cheese sauce. You want to make sure that you warm up your pot for at least 30 seconds to like a minute. You're going to add the butter. And you want to make sure that the butter is completely melted before you add your next ingredient. And if you want to expedite the melting process, you can just mix it around like I'm doing right here. The next step is adding the onions once the butter has melted. What you want is for the onions to become tender and to become translucent. And once that happens, we can start the next process. And that is adding the flour. The flour is supposed to absorb all the butter that's in and around the onions. So you're going to mix it like so, again, to absorb all that butter. And if you feel like there's still more butter, you can definitely add more flour like I'm doing right here to absorb all that butter. This needs to happen so we can add the next ingredient. Now it's time to add the milk, and this is where I tweak the recipe to make it my own. I actually use almond milk and I use the vanilla flavor. Just like the onion, it's going to be a very subtle taste, but I cannot imagine having it any other way. So now you're going to add about a handful at a time of the cheese. And what you're going to do here is you can alternate between the cheese and the milk. I like my sauce to be very creamy, so I usually add more cheese than I add milk. As you learn to cook this and get better at it, you'll know the consistency that you want your cheese sauce to be. So right here, as you can see, the heat is actually pretty high. You don't want the heat to be on high. It needs to be on low, medium. So I've just added more cheese sauce. Again, I haven't added any milk, but you can do it the way you see fit according to how you want your sauce to be. You're going to keep mixing it, obviously, until all the cheese melts. And this is what you want it to look like. Very creamy, very soft, beautiful texture. Not to mention very delicious. So right before you're going to add the cheese sauce to the pasta, you can add your salt and your pepper. I prefer to have a little more pepper than my salt, but of course this is a personal preference. You can do it whichever way you like. So you're going to mix all that up because of course you want that salt and that pepper to be evenly distributed. And then we're going to pour it into the mixing bowl. It is time to add that delicious cheese sauce. See how it's nice and creamy and thick? You want that consistency. We're going to mix that all up, and again, you want this cheese to be evenly distributed, so please mix this well. So here you have it. Doesn't it look amazing? This is that nice, thick, and creamy consistency that I like. I cannot wait to hear what you guys think after you try this recipe. And this is what it looks like with a little added pepper. I really hope you guys enjoy this. This is such a delicious recipe. Here is the final product, guys.